This is the National Pro Cup Championship Crown Jewel of Late Model Competition. Here for the season opening event of 2014, the Zombie Survival Kits Daytona 200K at the Daytona International Speedway, which will be held on the 3.56 mile road course. Pepsi Max, proud sponsor of the Pro Award given to the fastest qualifier at each National Pro Cup Championship event. The first pole sitter of the season is the number 56, Sean Johnson. 19 drivers showed up for today's inaugural National Pro Cup Championship event, the result of the merger between the West Coast and Ohio Valley Late Model Series to form a national touring event. 24 races will be contested this season, and this is the first of what will be known as the Ultimatum Cup, which is a road course championship. This is Eric Drake Ryder driving for the Saint Amazing Autosport Helsing Hunter, sponsored by Red Bull, after a pretty disastrous Dash Cup showing in 2013, for only one top 10 and failing to make any of the special events. This is the number 60 Curtis Sawyer Racing Star of Nick Van Gilder. He participated in the Rockford 100 last season in the Arlington Auto Truck Series, finished third. This is the 04 Betty Cox in the Cox Dukes Racing Lennard, sponsored by AK Steel. This is her first foray into big-time late model stock car racing, and a brand new team, I might add. Now, this is the number 28 of John Quackenbush from Toronto, Ontario, driving for the Gravity Racing Incorporated Asani. He's a former sports car driver, now making his foray into American stock car racing. The 08 of Ray Takita for Olympic Racing has a flat tire on the end of lap 1 and has to come in. Tough break for her. Not the way she wanted her stock car career to get started. Many people consider this guy to be the favorite for the NPCC Championship this season, the 71 of Zach Gott. He brought the protocol sponsorship over with him to the National Pro Cup Championship, and he finished second in the Tornado Alley Truck Series last season with 2 wins. Another guy moving over from the Tornado Alley Truck Series is the number 18 of Chuck Johnson, bringing the family-owned Johnson Family Racing over to the National Pro Cup Championship. This is the guy to watch today. He was fastest in all of the preseason testing sessions and in practice. Didn't exactly have the best qualifying lap, but he's the guy to watch today. This is number 56 of Sean Johnson, driving for Mike Howard Racing, aka Lastro Autosport. A lot of people were surprised that he managed to win the pole today, despite his limited experience. This is the 02 of Jennifer Duke, the other half of the Cox Duke Racing team. She is sponsored by Round Table Pizza, and in front of her is the number 8 of Joshua Michael, sponsored by the Sochi Olympics, which are coming up soon. Quackenbush gets a run on Sean Sanchez, and the number 58 for Mike Howard Racing, sponsored by Telmex this season. And Quackenbush moves up into the top 5. And he has a run on Eric Drake Ryder, another sports car driver and former Gravity Racing driver, in the bus stop, and Drake Ryder loses a lot of momentum and gets passed by Sanchez and Johnson, as well as Quackenbush, so Drake Ryder back to the 7th position. Johnson has a run on Sean Sanchez in the tri-oval for the number 4 spot. As they head into turn number 1, Johnson will be able to complete the pass on Sanchez, heading into slight hint to the right into turn 2, and he will take over the number 4 spot. This is the number 90 of Andrea Lynn Caldwell in the Caldwell Midwest Racing Lycoya, the only Lycoya in the field today of 19 cars that showed up. And you can see by her paint scheme, she is a big Nicky Curtis fan. That's where that comes from. This is the number 66 of Nate Patrick in the other Helsing that's in the race today, sponsored by ZombieBusters.com. For the Saint Amazing Autosport team. He's not the biggest fan of road racing, but he is a short track specialist, and he'll be looking forward to going to Albuquerque in a month's time. Gott gets loose going into turn 2 and comes across the nose with the number 34 Parker Witten, spinning him into the grass. Gott comes back out onto the track, but he does cut part of the racetrack off, so the officials are certainly going to look into that. Here's the onboard from Parker Witten in the Zoopy Juice machine, as the 71 comes across his nose after getting loose. Whitten gets it back onto the track, but he does lose some track position. Here is Quackenbush, the Quackster, or the Duckman as a lot of people like to call him. He tries to get a run on Nick Van Gelder for second in the bus stop, but is unable to make the pass as Van Gelder holds him off. Quackenbush catches right back up though and is hounding Van Gelder heading into the tri-oval. Chuck Johnson lurking back and forth at the moment. Quackenbush raced in the World Sports Car Championship last season for Hailstorm Motorsports. Had some success, but not as much as he'd like. Here comes Chuck Johnson with a run on Quackenbush for the 4th position coming out of turn 6. Well, for the road course version anyways, and into turn 7. And Chuck Johnson, fastest in all the preseason testing sessions, is going to take over the number 4 spot from Quackenbush heading into the bus stop. And the next time around, Johnson catches up to Van Gelder, who, as I mentioned, finished 3rd in the Rockford 100 20 Truck Series finale last season for this same team in his debut, which was very impressive. But now he's made his home here in the National Pro Cup Championship. As he bogs down in the bus stop, Johnson gets by as well as Quackenbush. And the officials have determined that Gott did cut off part of the track in turn number 3, I believe, and he will have to serve a drive-through penalty. Tough break for the number 71. On board with Chuck Johnson now as he is riding in the 2nd spot, and you can see ahead, he is really cutting into Sean Johnson. Yeah, no relation, by the way. At the completion of lap number 11, Sean Johnson can lead the way. He has led every single lap, but as you can see, his lead went from about 2.9 seconds down to 1.2 seconds. This 18 car is fast. And the next time around, Johnson, Chuck Johnson that is, gets a run on Sean Johnson for the lead of the race. And at the stripe, according to timing and scoring, Chuck Johnson did indeed lead that lap, so we have our first official lead change of the day. This is a 200-kilometer race, 125 miles. It'll take 36 laps to run in the first race of the 2014 season and the first official race of the Ultimatum Cup. Remember when I said Nate Patrick didn't like road course racing? Well, here's a perfect example of that as he runs into the barricade in the Turn 2 complex. And after his penalty, Zach Gott has dropped all the way back to 18th place. They decided, since they had to serve the penalty, they decided to go ahead and get him 4 fresh tires and a full load of fuel. So we'll see how that works out. And as it turns out, he has set the 2nd fastest lap of the race so far. Chuck Johnson has already set the fastest lap though. Here's Quackenbush trying to get a run on Sean Johnson for the number 2 spot. And he's trying to get around him pretty quickly because he knows he has to try to keep up with Chuck Johnson, who's pulling away at the moment. This is the number 2 of Vinny LeBeau. He has been pretty slow pretty much all throughout preseason testing and in practice. And here's a perfect example. The 71 got spun out, had to serve a penalty, and he's already coming up to pass Vinny LeBeau, who hasn't really had any troubles whatsoever. He's just been that slow. Here was a heart-stopping moment of the race for Chuck Johnson. He runs turn 5 wide, and into the grass he goes, and he hits the barrier, suffering some significant damage to the number 18 on the left side. Here comes Sean Johnson and Quackenbush trying to take advantage, but Chuck Johnson is able to hold on to the lead, but you can see all of the damage on the left side of that car. Let's see if that affects the handling whatsoever. And here is Zach Gott catching up to the number 8 of Joshua Michaels, who's not been having a good day. He hasn't had any problems either, but that car's just been ill handling all day, and you can see, and this is a brand new team too, but the Olympic Racing team, and going up against Zach Gott, that's no contest there. Pit stops begin. The 64th Ollie Mishima is in, as well as the 56, the 60, the 13 of Bobby Wood, the 34th Parker Whitten. Vinny LeBeau comes in. Next time around, Chuck Johnson, your race leader, is in, followed by John Quackenbush, the 04 Betty Cox, the 58 of Sean Sanchez, Drake Ryder is in, the 51 Isabella Messina for the Messina Motorsport team, Caldwell is in, as well as the 99 of Roy Warren, and Jennifer Duke as well. And Jennifer Duke runs into the side of Caldwell, and that could result in a penalty. Joshua Michaels comes in for his pit stop. And here is Quackenbush getting out ahead of Chuck Johnson, but to spend a little extra time in the pits to get the left side of that car repaired, which cost him some time. This leaves Zach Gott as the leader of the race. Remember, he had that drive-through penalty, and he decided to make that pit stop for fresh tires and fuel, and it's put him in the lead of the race. Chuck Johnson's extended pit stop puts him back to 4th place, 15 seconds out of the lead, and 10 seconds behind Quackenbush, who got way ahead of him. But that damage certainly hasn't seemed to slow that 18 car down at all as he catches the 56 in the bus stop. And according to timing and scoring, he is still the fastest car on the track. So this 18 car, wow. That's all I can say. Here is John Quackenbush. No sponsorship on this car. Really haven't been able to find anything for the number 28 car, but keeps up runs like this. You might be able to find sponsorship soon. Drake Ryder has a bit of trouble in turn number 2, sliding it wide and into the grass. He locks it down. He gets it back going again, but he loses quite a bit of track position. And as you can see, he goes around that barrier right there, so he will be okay as far as any penalties go. Gott has to come in with 10 laps to go for tires and fuel, which means that this will be the battle for the lead. Quackenbush and Chuck Johnson fighting for the lead here. And there have been reports actually that Quackenbush, his engine might be laying down a little bit, might be losing a cylinder, which might be another reason why Johnson caught him so quickly from so far back. Remember, Quackenbush was up about 10 seconds on Johnson at one point, and Johnson gets around him to take over the lead of the race. And after Gott had to come in for his pit stop, he finds himself back in the 8th position, so he has no chance to win, but he has 4 fresh tires, and this car has already been fast. I mean, and here's another thing. He started dead last today after spinning and qualifying. That just shows you how good this car is right now, and as you can see, he is caught up to 4 cars right now those are for position too. And into turn 7 he goes as he passes the number 58 of Sean Sanchez for the 7th position. And then coming out of turn 12, he catches the 60 of Nick Van Gelder, the 04 of Betty Cox. That is for 5th and 6th positions. So this 71 car, the 71 Asani this season, as Rowdy Racing Incorporated switches to Asani in both FARC and the NPCC. And early results are showing that these cars are fast. And out of turn 5, Gott gets a run on Betty Cox in the 04 for the 5th position. So moves that Gott up into the top 5. Coming out of turn number 6 and heading into the bus stop, he catches the Focus Autosport number 13 of Aubrey Wood. And that would be for the number 4 position. And with those 4 fresh tires, that guy is actually now the fastest car on the racetrack. Here's a great battle for the number 6 spot between Betty Cox and the 58 of Sean Sanchez. Sanchez powers it hard into turn number 1, trying to get around Cox, but he runs it wide, has to let off the throttle, heading into the kink, and Cox gets back by. Here comes Van Gelder. Ooh, they make a little bit of contact coming out of turn 2. Wow, some great racing here for top 10 positions as Van Gelder makes the run around Sanchez for the 7th position. Oh, but he almost runs turn 5 wide, and here comes Sanchez back. Parker Whitten is there, the 64 of Oy Mishishima. Caldwell's there, as well as Drake Ryder. This is all for top 10 positions. And Zach Gott has managed to catch up with Sean Johnson in turn 5 for the 3rd position. As you see, I think that was Aubrey Wood going off in the background in turn 5. We'll have to take a look at that here shortly. As Scott gets around Sean Johnson for the 3rd spot. And indeed it was Aubrey Wood who went off in turn 5. Same thing that Chuck Johnson did earlier in the race. As Aubrey Wood smacks the retaining wall, running in 5th. But she manages to get back onto the track as you see that long stream of cars behind her. And now she's got damage on the left side, but it looks like she's able to hold them off, at least for the time being. Coming to the white flag, Zach Gott has moved his way up into the third position. And as we take a look, he has set the fastest lap of the race, the only driver in the 144 bracket, 144.6 compared to Chuck Johnson's 145. Oh, what might have been for him had he not been spun out. And here's Quackenbush on the last lap, running turn 5 wide, but he gets it back on the track. He's still saying that the engine is still missing a little bit, but it looks like he will be able to, and you can see his teammate in the background as well, but it looks like he'll be able to hold on for the number 2 spot. Great debut for the former sports car driver. But the day belongs to Chuck Johnson, fastest car in preseason testing, fastest in practice, didn't get a good qualifying run in, but he wins the Zombie Survival Kits Daytona 200K by a whopping 24 seconds. Wow. What a performance by Chuck Johnson as he scores his first career win. Of course, we saw glimpses of that in the Toyota Truck Series, how good of a road racer he could be. And his rival for the Ultimatum Cup could be John Quackenbush, who finishes second. Zach Gott finished third. John Johnson, Aubrey Wood, Betty Cox, Oi Mishima, Parker Whitten, and Sean Sanchez, all great debuts. Eric Drakeryder finishes 10th, but he probably could have liked better considering he started on the outside of the front row. Nick Van Gelder comes home in 11th place, losing several positions on the last lap. Andrea Lynn Caldwell, despite damage to her right front, finishes 12th. Isabella Messina for the Messina Motorsports team finishes 13th. Jennifer Duke finishes 14th. There might be penalties due to that pit road contact with the 90. Nate Patrick comes home 15th. Joshua Michaels, Roy Warren, Vinny LeBeau, and Ray Takita, the only car finishing off the lead lap. All 19 cars actually finished this race today. The point standings reflective of the results. And of course, these are the same point standings after one of 9 races that will be contested in the Ultimatum Cup. The next race for the National Pro Cup Championship, the NOS Energy 100 at the Albuquerque Speed Bowl. Thank you for joining us today. I'm John Lyondike, and we'll see you next time.